Welcome to the 2021 Virtual Business Leadership Institute, presented by the Chicago chapter of the National Black MBA Association. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and being with us this morning. If you don't know, my name is Stacy Crook. I am the Chicago chapter president for the National Black MBA. So the Business Leadership Institute is a single-day power-packed conference filled with seminars and workshops that are geared toward industry best practices that are in leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship. The 2021 BLI will focus on coming out of the pandemic and the state of the Black professional and entrepreneur concerning readiness. The Black professional, regardless of where they are in their professional journey, should be prepared. Careers and jobs ensure they are ready to take advantage of the fact that time for Blacks is now. With all the DEI efforts and commitments, our goal is to share best practices that will inspire all leaders to engage in strategies and support diverse communities and ideas within the workplace and the global marketplace. So we would like to start off our day with a plenary. And the plenary is Seize the Moment. We have a dynamic speaker who is going to help us and design our purpose-driven careers and give us all the little nuggets that we need to prepare ourselves to better ourselves. So I would like to take this time now to introduce Ms. Nicole-Johnson Scales. She is the CEO of NJS Consulting Group, who applies more than 2 decades of corporate leadership experience to empower her clients to become high-impact leaders within their industries. Whether starting a new role or positioned to take their leadership to the next level, Nicole helps leaders design a powerful strategy, leveraging their strengths and talents, building confidence and courage along the way. I know this personally because I was able to be a part of the Purpose Career Initiatives with Loyola University, in which she was our coach. And so she definitely does have the ability to build confidence and courage in her students. Nicole has an MBA from Olivet Navarrete University and is a certified coach through an International Coach Federation accredited program. She is an adjunct professor at Loyola University and at Lake Forest Graduate School of Management, where she teaches courses on values-based leadership, leading organizational change, and corporate social responsibility. She is a founding guide at Chief Chicago, the social network dedicated to women's leadership. She has been recognized nationally and locally as a corporate and civic leader. She is a recipient of numerous awards, including the National Diversity Council's Most Powerful and Influential Leaders and Chicago United Leader of Color. She serves on several boards and committees, including the City Colleges of Chicago Foundation. All right, I'd like to take this time to welcome Ms. Nicole-Johnson Scales.
Thank you, Stacy, and thank you for your leadership and that of the Chicago chapter of the National MBA for bringing us all here together for us to figure out how we can seize the moment. So I got to tell you guys, first of all, that whenever I have the opportunity to speak and people read my bio, I swear, like the only person that wants to hear that is my mom. Like I tell that to people all the time. She's just probably grateful that I turned out probably a lot better than she had anticipated. But what's most important about my bio is that I am just like you, a Black woman trying to figure out how to seize this moment, how to have a career that brings me joy, how to get paid what it is that I am worth, and how do I really create the strategy to be able to do so. Now, I want to tell you guys that I am in California on vacation, and that's why I've got all the sunlight. And you know, us folks in Chicago, we're not used to dancing with the sun the way I think I may need to dance with the sun during our time together. So I'm going to ask you guys that if at any point in the presentation where I have to move because the sun is obstructing my view, guys, just I appreciate your grace and patience in the process, but enjoying the sun until I get back to Chicago to be able to get ready for this winter that we know is coming. So here's the thing, friends, we have a unique opportunity where our collective voices have finally been heard. And so how do we seize the moment to create a career that brings us joy, challenges us to grow, enables us to get paid what we're worth, and helps us to reach our personal and professional goals? So during our time together today, I'm going to be spending just some time with you to really think about purpose and vision, the barriers that get in the way of us getting the careers, living the careers, having professional joy, which is what I call it, the mindset shifts that we need to create to enable us to be able to reach our ideal potential. And then also action steps that I'm going to share with you all and to get you all to begin to think about to be able to move you forward to where you are now, to where it is that you want to be. Now, there's going to be reflection exercises throughout my presentation. And so we're going to model the exercises together. I'm going to give you a minute or so to kind of think about it because I want to plant the seed about what you can do to be able to move your career forward. But I want to invite you to spend more time really thinking about these exercises. I think they're going to challenge you to think bigger and to gain some clarity on next steps for your career. So as I start our time today, one of the things I'd like to invite you to do along with me is to really create this visual. And I'd like for you to visualize a turtle and a giraffe. See, the turtle can only, just how she's created, can only see before her. She can kind of look a little bit to the left. She can look a little bit to the right. And she makes decisions based on what she can see. Just those few inches ahead of her, to the left, to the right, looking at things, making decisions based on her limited view and limited perspective. When you think about your career, I want you all to take on the view of the giraffe. When we think about the giraffe with her beautiful neck, who can see all across the plain, she can see things like resources, water, food, where the allies are, where the potential challenges are. Her view compared to the turtle is much broader. Her perspective is much wider and it expands. And it allows her to be strategic about how she moves so that she can achieve the things that she needs to do. So I want you all to think about what's possible in your career, not with the turtle's view in terms of what we see that's before us, what we think that we can do, how we think we can move forward, but stay in the place of what's possible. And I want you guys to get outside of your comfort zone, even though we're not going to know all the answers on how to move forward, but to think about the vision that we can have for ourselves that's much broader than we probably have today. So I love this quote by Mark Twain. He says, "The two most important days of your life are the days the day you are born and the day that you find out why." Our purpose is the why that Mark Twain is referring to. We all have the ability to live our purpose, to leverage our gifts and talents to positively impact others. So oftentimes the challenge is creating the space to clearly identify what our purpose is so that we can actively live it. So here's how we begin to think about purpose and finding our purpose so that we can build a bridge to live it more intentionally. I love this graphic that's here because it really visualizes what our purpose is. It's this intersection between the things that we love, the things that we're great at, the things that the world needs, and we're paid for our purpose, right? So it's the intersection of passion, mission, profession, and vocation. So when you think about your purpose, one of the things I'd like to invite you to do is to really get grounded in your strengths and talents. When I invite you to think about your strengths and talents, the strengths are the things that we just naturally do, right? Those are the things that it's not a challenge for us to be able to do. We just naturally know how to build relationships, be a leader. Maybe it's financial acumen. And our talents are the things that we're good at, but it might take us a little more practice in order to get good at it. So I've been given the feedback that I'm a good speaker, right? I'm a good speaker. People enjoy listening to me. I'm not a natural speaker. It's something that I've had to practice. So it could be considered a talent because it's something that perhaps I'm good at, but it's not something that comes naturally to me. So getting grounded in our strengths and our talents. Then I like to invite you all to pay attention to where you gain the most energy. When you go about your day, what is lighting your fire? What's setting you on fire? What's getting you excited to do even more? What is it about what you're doing that you're like, oh my gosh, if I was able to get paid to do this, this would be amazing. And begin to track those things. These are all clues to what your purpose is. The other piece of purpose that's so important is to identify the impact that you want to have. The world needs it. And so how do you want to impact the world? What is the thing that you need to do to create a positive impact on those around us? So we can easily spot people living their purpose. For those of you all who are in Chicago, Dory McWhorter, who is the CEO of the YMCA now, she used to be the CEO of the YWCA. I sat on her board. She's now the CEO of the YMCA. She is someone who lives her purpose. And I remember sitting in a retreat, a board retreat, and she was on fire. Like she was on fire. And I remember thinking like, I want some of that. Opportunities flow when you're in your purpose. The energy is so positive. They love what they do. And so it's really around how do we connect with our purpose in a way that allows us to live it more meaningfully. We all deserve to feel this way. And the good news is that we have all been uniquely designed to live out our purpose. The opportunity for us is claiming what it is, spending time to get connected to it so that we can lean in it more purposefully. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you all is that I worked 20 plus years, and I say plus because if I probably say the real time frame, it'll make me feel old. So 20 plus sounds good to me. And I remember, and I probably spent, I'd say about 10 years really feeling stuck, trying to figure out what I wanted to do next in my career. And it was so frustrating to me because I'm someone who's driven, I'm someone who's goal-oriented, and to not be able to communicate to others what I wanted to do next was a challenge for me. And so I really had to identify what my purpose was. I had to get connected to it. And my coach, Linnell Harris, helped me to identify that. And once I was able to gain clarity, it allowed me to move more intentionally. So this year, I quit my corporate job. I was leading corporate social responsibility for Fifth Third Bank for the past 20 years almost. Loved my job, but I knew that there was something more that I needed to do. And so with that guidance for purpose, for me to be able to say yes or no to opportunities, it empowered me to be able to be in a space where I get to spend my morning with you all, hopefully imparting with you all just some nuggets that you can take to get to the next level so that you can lead your purpose and have a career that means so much more to you. Now, here's one thing that I'll share with you. Purpose does not have to be something altruistic. It doesn't mean that you have to start a nonprofit or work in a mission-based organization, but it does mean that you're creating a positive impact on the world. Your purpose could be that you want to build diverse and successful teams. You want to empower teams to reach their collective goals. You may be a great problem solver who can use that gift to help small businesses scale. So I want to invite you guys to think about purpose as not being this soft and fuzzy thing. It's the thing that we're uniquely created to do. It's the thing that allows us to leverage our talents and strengths flawlessly. But whatever it is, you have been uniquely created to impact the world in that way. So I want to invite you guys to do a quick purpose exercise for me. And again, we're going to be modeling purpose here, modeling exercises here, but I want you all to spend time outside of the workshop after BLI is over to really think and reflect on these respective exercises. And so I want you to think about purpose this way. My purpose is blank to blank. So here's my purpose statement. My purpose is to leverage my resources, talents, and strengths so that I can help others reach their next level of success with confidence. Now, here's the thing. When I look back at my career, I had the opportunity to leverage the bank's resources to invest in communities that look like mine, to bring resources for financial education, to create affordable housing, to create pathways to sustainable work. When I began to get restless and think about what I wanted to do different, that's when I took on the opportunity to be an adjunct professor, because I knew that I wanted to leverage my strengths to help others be able to move forward in their careers. I knew that there was a pathway for me there. And then when I started my business 2 years ago, it was to say, how do I lean into my purpose more and differently? How do I serve different at this time? And when I talk to you all about clues, you'll see that my work as leading corporate social responsibility, my work as an adjunct professor, helping executives get to the next level of their career, me being an executive coach, helping people to work through what it is they're going through internally so that they can just go be a beast and do all the things that they need to do. There was a thread there. So that's why I say, look for those clues, look for the things that give you energy. Where are your strengths and talents, and how do they show up every day? So I'm going to give you guys about 1 minute to just sketch this out a little bit. My purpose is blank to blank. So Stacey, let's give the folks 1 minute to think this through. And then I'm going to invite everyone to take some time and just put your just initial thoughts on purpose into the chat so we can see and learn from one another. Here's the thing. I'm going to ask you guys not to be quiet in the chat because we have the opportunity to learn from one another. If you put something in the chat that someone else can benefit from, believe me, that has been your purpose today in engaging with other people. So don't be nervous about sharing your thoughts. So I'll give you guys 1 minute to think about, what is my purpose? What are my strengths and talents? Where do I get energy from? What's the impact that I want to have? And if you've already come up with your purpose statement, feel free to put it into the chat. We've got about 30 more seconds.
I see a couple coming into the chat now.
Go ahead and share it with us, Stacey. What are people identifying as their purpose?
Okay, I see my purpose is to utilize my talents, skills, and gifts to propel others into their purpose, destiny, and assignment.
I love that. I love that. And here's the thing about that purpose statement. It's so broad, it allows this person to be able to figure out how they want that to show up. And so the purpose statement doesn't have to be, I want to be this particular role. It is, here's what I want, here's how I want to impact the world overall, and here's how I want to do it. That's amazing. Thank you.
All right. So we've got also, my purpose is to pass on the benefits of my experience to the new generation of financial analysis professionals.
And I love that because I'm not good at numbers, so it would never be my purpose. So I'm so glad that it's yours, because it's so important to be able to have that skill. And I'm curious, for those of you all who have already put in the chat what your purpose is, how does it feel to claim that as your purpose? Give me some feedback. How does it feel to know exactly how you're supposed to impact the world?
Let's see. All right, while we're waiting on that response, we'll go to there's one more purpose statement, and it's my purpose is elevating underrepresented and under-resourced groups to create a more equitable society.
I love it. I love it. Yes, yes, and yes. That is our purpose. And the great thing about our purpose is it allows us and empowers us to be able to make decisions about our career that if it's not in alignment with our purpose, then that's probably something that we have to say no to. Once I quit my job, and it was so funny because people started reaching out to me about opportunities. I'm like, well, where were y'all when I was feeling stuck? Where were y'all at? But I remember getting an opportunity and my coach saying to me, well, how does this align with your purpose? Right? It brought me right back to center. So yes, let's continue the work on purpose. Thank you all for sharing. I'm so inspired to hear the ways in which you're going to impact the world. So let's talk now about vision. Now, the definition for vision is, of course, the ability to see. And then the second definition is the ability to think about or plan for the future. The vision is important because it starts with the end in mind, and it allows us to work backwards and determine what we need to do to get from where we are now to where it is that we want to be. So it's about strategically building a bridge through our actions to move us closer to our respective goals. So guys, I'm going to invite you again to start to have another reflection exercise on vision. And here's what I'd like for you to do. Imagine that you have achieved your career success. So let's say it's the end of your career journey. You've achieved everything that you wanted to achieve. I want you to describe what you see. So my first prompt is, who am I? And that could be a role. You could say, I'm the CEO of XYZ. I'm running my own business. I'm in the C-suite, or I'm just where I am now, but I've had greater impact. So who am I? And it's okay if you don't know what that role is, but just maybe give some description in terms of what it is that you're doing. The next prompt, what have I achieved? So when you think about the impact that you want to have, the legacy that you want to leave, your fingerprints on this earth, what have you achieved in this career? And what impact have you made? If you're training that next level of financial executives, if you're breaking down systems to create equitable opportunities for everyone, what's the impact that you made? And who have I impacted? Let's get even more specific. Is it individuals? I heard financial professionals. That's wonderful. Who have I impacted in this career journey? And what have you created in your personal life? The reason why I have that question there, friends, is that we can't create a professional joy without personal joy. And we need to ensure that the life that we're creating for ourselves from a career perspective empowers and emboldens what we want in our personal life. And so I want you to think about, what have you created in your personal life? And then what are the things that you are the most proud of? Again, I want to invite you all into what's possible. I don't want you to think about, well, how would I get there? We're staying in the place of what's possible. And I'm going to give you guys a minute to spend some time thinking about this. And again, invite you in the chat to just give us a little bit, pick a couple of the bullets that really get you excited and share it in the chat so we can get excited with you. I'll give you about a minute. Friends, we got about 20 more seconds. All right, so if you could pop into the chat a couple of these bullets that make you excited.
Okay. All right. So don't be shy. Let's get the chat going.
Yes. And here's the thing too, if the vision doesn't scare you guys, it's probably not big enough. If you're thinking about these things that you want to do, the impact that you make, these things are huge. And if it doesn't get you outside your comfort zone, if it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, how can I achieve it? That means we're not taking on the view of the giraffe. And so get uncomfortable and share with us what it is that you identified as part of your vision.
All right. We've got enlightening people on how to show up authentically in life.
Yes. Imagine how many people what life would be like if people were empowered to show up authentically. I love that. I love that. Anything else, Stacey?
Not right now.
Okay. All right. So guys, again, take the exercise, spend some time with it. If it doesn't make you feel like, whoa, this is too big, then again, you're probably not thinking big enough. And okay. I want you guys to get uncomfortable and think really, really big here. And don't worry about the how. Don't worry about what's before you, but think about what it is that you want to achieve.
Okay, now we got a couple.
Okay.
All right. What excites me is seeing others in their aha moment. Okay. And then I want to have created hope for those who never considered possibilities beyond their everyday.
I love that. I love that. Create hope. Help people see, aha, those things are life-changing. I love it. Oh my gosh. I wish I could meet all of you all individually so that I can just stay in touch with you and just be able to see this in motion. So when you think about this vision, what barriers do you think are in your way? Love to hear you in the chat. When you think about how you get to where you are now, to the impact that you want to make, what stands in your way? And Stacey, when you see it in the chat, let me know.
Okay.
Stacey, when you joined the Purposeful Career Initiatives, what were some of the barriers that you saw as being in your way of having the career that you wanted?
Barriers for me, my biggest barrier was myself, sitting in my own way. I had to really learn how to get out of my own way and move past my comfort zone.
Okay. Me too.
So let's see. Others say being okay and committed to service for a lifetime. Time. Fear. Yeah. So giving people the knowledge of hearing themselves through whole health, healing mind, body, and spirit. I think that went back to the last question.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Yeah. So fear, time, getting in our own way. Absolutely. So one of the things that we have to do when it comes to reaching our respective goals is that we have to shift our mindset in order to get the results that we're looking for. And part of the challenge, and Stacey identified it clearly, when we talk about fear, when we talk about limiting beliefs, when we talk about I don't have time, these are the things that we're saying to ourselves that are really ways that we're thinking that aren't empowering us, but keeping us right where we need to be. So the thing about these limiting beliefs, right, is that they're not facts. They're just things that we're telling ourselves. It's our brain trying to protect us from getting outside of our comfort zone. And here's some examples of limiting beliefs. My biggest limiting belief was how once I identified from a purpose perspective, and then I had the courage to say that I wanted to be a coach, because friends, when you say stuff out loud, that means like you got to do something with it, right? So having the courage to be able to say, this is what I want to do. The thing that beat me up was the how. And I remember my coach, Linnell Harris, telling me, Nicole, don't get bullied by the how. Because I was thinking about, well, how will I make a living? How will I quit my job? How will I be able to coach people? I've never done this. Just how? How do I not get bullied by the how? Other limiting beliefs are, well, if this would change, right? So that just kind of doesn't allow us to stand in our power, because we're saying other circumstances have to change in order for us to be in our power. That's a limiting belief. This notion around fear. What if I fail? What if I fail? You all have heard it. Fear stands for this notion of false evidence appearing real, right? The fear that these things are going to happen to us, when it really just is our ability to just stand in our power and to move forward and leverage those strengths and talents and our strategic ability in order to overcome. My limiting belief was I felt stuck. Yeah, I felt stuck, but I needed to do something about it. We also have this notion of, if it doesn't happen by this point in time, right, then I'm some type of failure. I'm not where I want to be in life. That's a limiting belief. I can't have what I want. Limiting belief. I don't have time. Friends, let me tell you, the thing about time is that it's just an excuse for us not to be able to roll up our sleeves and do the work that we need to do. We make time for the things that are important to us. And so let's not let time be an excuse for us not to get what it is that we want. Let's claim what it is. It could be, I just don't have clarity, or I feel overwhelmed just thinking about moving forward. Okay, let's call it what it is so that we can create strategies in order to move forward. So here's a little framework I'd like for you all to take on as you think about moving from these limiting beliefs to things that you're telling yourself that allows you to be more empowered to do the things that you need to do. So here's what it is. I tell myself I am stuck. So that's the limiting belief. What's the limiting belief? Let's call it what it is. I own that I lack intention, right? So now this comes into the accountability piece. The reason why we name and then hold ourselves accountable is because it allows us to say, I can move through this. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I need to own about what I'm feeling. And then here's how I want to move forward. So we want to acknowledge the limiting belief. We want to take accountability and call it what it really is. And then we want to begin to take action. And so where's the action that we want to move forward? So I will begin to take action towards my goals. So if I am telling myself I'm stuck, but the truth of the matter is that I'm lacking intention in order to be aligned with what it is that I want to do. I'm not doing my research. I'm not networking. I'm not creating a pros and cons list. Well, then let's call it what it is. It's not that you're stuck. It's because you're lacking intention. So how do you move past that intention once we decide who it is that we want to be? And then how do we take action moving forward? So again, guys, just an exercise that when you begin to have those limiting beliefs, that you begin to readjust in the moment. So there are 3 professional pathways that I like to think of as we move forward and as we think about what's next. The first I call blooming where you're planted. So you bloom where you're planted. You where you are right now is the right fit. And so how do you grow where you are now? The next is to move forward. And then the last is to expand, or even to go solo. So if you bloom where you're planted, here's kind of some of the things that you're saying. I enjoy my current role. I feel like I can achieve my personal and professional goals. There's opportunity for growth for me. And I have much more that I can do in this role. Like, it gets me excited every day. When it's time to move forward, some of the things you may be telling yourself is, my current role is not a long-term option. There aren't enough growth opportunities. My values do not align with the organization that I'm working with, and I don't see where I can create meaningful impact. If it's time to go solo or expand, and by expand, it's really what I did. So I had a full-time job, but I started my business and I was an adjunct professor. Sometimes we get caught up into thinking we can only be one thing. And so we can decide to leave our companies and start our own, or we can expand where we are, stay where we are, continue to take advantage of being in the workspace, having to check every 2 weeks, but then growing our purpose in different ways. So here's how that might sound. I want to build upon my current skills and gain new ones. I want to lean into my purpose more. I want to challenge myself in a new way. I want to monetize my gifts and talents. So really quickly, would love to hear you all let us know, which pathway are you on? Should you be blooming where you're planted? Is it time to move forward? Or do you want to go solo and or expand?
Okay. Very, just put that in the chat for us. So I know for me personally, my pathway is to move forward, and that's kind of what I've been working on. But I know with moving forward, you have to have a plan. So I am working on that plan to be able to move forward on my pathway.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got a bloom where I am planted,
Great.
time to expand.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about the path forward. When you've identified which of these pathways make sense to you, here's just some tidbits in terms of how you should think about moving intentionally in this pathway. So if you want to bloom where you're planted, you've got to continue to exceed your performance expectations. Look for ways to strategically bring more purpose to your role. And that's around that intentionality. It's about saying what it is your purpose is, and then looking for ways to actively live it, to create opportunities, to innovate within your company. Raise your hand for strategic leadership opportunities. Take advantage of development opportunities that the company offers you. You can hire a coach. There's conferences that you can attend. There's, I'm sure, corporate opportunities that you can engage in as well. So take advantage of those development opportunities. And of course, leverage your internal and external network to help you to gain visibility. If it's time to move forward, again, you've got to exceed those performance expectations. We don't want to let people know that we're beginning to think differently about the role. Spend some time gaining clarity on your next internal move. Build a bridge to any skills and trait gaps that exist. So for me, when I thought about coaching full time, I needed to get certified. So while I was working, I went ahead and got certified. So what are the skills and gaps that exist that you need to take advantage of? Create an exit strategy, which is what it sounds like that Stacey, you're working on. So let's be thoughtful. Let's not just get tired one day and just say I quit, right? What's the exit strategy? How much money do you want to have in the bank to be able to do it? What does it look like? What do you need to accomplish? How do you go about finding this next opportunity? And of course, we know that leveraging our network is important when we're looking for a job externally, because according to the U.S. Labor of Statistics, it says that 85% of jobs are created and connected by someone that we know. If it's time to go solo or expand, I want to encourage you guys to formalize your ideas, instill discipline and time management, because one, if you're looking to start your own company, you've got to have the discipline and time management to do the work that needs to happen. If you're going to expand, that means you still have a full-time job. And so having that time management and having that discipline is going to be important. Look for ways to bring value internally from your expanded interests. So when I was teaching, I was able to kind of bring back those things that I learned from teaching others to my corporation. It allowed them to not see my external interests as a threat, but actually they saw it as a way for me to expand my skills and my visibility. And also, again, expanding your network, letting people know what it is that you want to do on your own or how you want to expand. So when you think about moving on to your next opportunity, there's a couple of questions I want you to ask yourself. One, what skills do I need, right? We all have things that we're doing great. But when we think about that next opportunity, when we think about living in our purpose, what are those skills that we need to move forward? What are the experiences that you need in order to be able to take on that next opportunity? I've got a client who wants to be able to be the CEO or executive director of a nonprofit. She needs board engagement experience to get to the next level. So how do you create that in the role that you currently have? And then what traits do I need to get to the next level? Sometimes that could be things like I need to have executive presence. It has to do with the brand, like how I want to show up. And so think about those characteristics and traits that you need to get to the next level as well. In addition to the skills and the traits and the experiences that you want to think about, the other component that we need to consider is the brand, our visibility, and relationships. So as it relates to the brand, I want you to ask yourself, am I living my brand every day? And how would others describe your brand? And is it in alignment with how you want to be known? And where do I need to bring more consistency? As it relates to being more visible, where should I be more visible internally and externally, right? Because that visibility, the more people know about us internally and externally, the more they can connect us to opportunities. How would this visibility strategically move me to where I want to be? And how do I need to show up in these spaces? So it's one thing to be visible. The strategy comes into, well, how do I need to show up? Who do I need to be in this moment in order for this visibility to work for me? And then lastly, what relationships do I need to build? Ask yourself, am I building the right relationships for growth? A lot of times from a relationship perspective, we just stay with the folks that are comfortable to us, that have the same type of experiences. Are our relationships diverse enough? And what relationships do I need to build in order to stretch me? We've all had opportunities to have mentors, but I want to ask you all, are we effectively leveraging our mentors in a way that helps us to get to our new career growth? So when you leverage your mentor, I want you all to really think about driving the relationship. Know what it is that you want out of this relationship. Yes, it's great to have somebody to run things by every once in a while, but how can you leverage this person even more effectively? I want to encourage you all to drive the relationship. I've had so many people come up to me and they want to be mentored and they just kind of show up and they want me to do the work. Friends, when we have a mentor, we've got to do the work. We've got to be focused and prepared. We need to come with an agenda. We need to be clear about how we want to use their time. Share your plan in terms of how you want to move in your career. Ask for feedback, right? Because maybe we're not thinking as broadly as we need to. Ask for introductions that they can make on your behalf, and then look for opportunities to help them as well. Anytime you have a relationship where it's a win-win, is always one that's sustainable. So look for ways that you can support the things that your mentor is doing. They may bring up something like, oh, I've got to be able to do this. Well, go look it up, send them an article. Look for ways to bring value to the relationship so that it's balanced and the person wants to continue to invest in you. We know the difference between sponsorship and mentorship. Mentorship, these are the folks that we can call up and say, hey, help me think through this. But when we have a sponsor in our lives, these are the folks that are speaking on our behalf when we're not in the room. And so if you don't currently have a sponsorship, there are corporations that have formal sponsorship programs. There's not a lot, but there's formal sponsorship programs. So if you have that at your company, find out how you can get engaged. Sponsorship normally happens organically. And it's when people see you and they say, that person has a lot of runway. So in order to gain a sponsor, you guys, again, need to have excellent performance. Raise your hand for visible roles, visible ways to be leaders, visible projects and opportunities. And if there is a chance, gain an audience with your boss's boss, because they'll have even a different view of the folks who are leaders within the company, and they can be able to see your talent. Also, leverage your sponsor. So if you have one, don't let them just kind of sit around and say, oh, okay, this might be something that Nicole could be interested in, that Stacy could be interested in. You've identified your purpose. You know the skills that you need to create. You're clear in terms of how you need to move forward with your brand and visibility. Communicate that plan and those goals, and ask for developmental opportunities or assistance with finding a mentor if you currently don't have one. I know that sometimes networking can be a challenge for us, but really think strategically about networking. And I want to invite you all to identify 5 to 10 people that you have a solid relationship with. As you've put this plan together, share your career vision and plan with them. Ask again for feedback, and then ask for specific support. I'd love if you could introduce me to these types of people. Can you connect me to an external mentor? Be clear in terms of the specific support that you need. And of course, ask how you can help them. We're all on a journey. We're all trying to get to the next level. And so how can you be a conduit to helping your network reach their respective goals as well? So friends, I know we've had a short amount of time. I hope that these exercises brought value to you. Here's how I'd like for you to take the next powerful steps. One, we've talked about it. Reflect on today's exercises. Do the head work and the heart work. Spend the time. Don't use that as an excuse to move your career forward. Take notice of those limiting beliefs and acknowledge what it is that you're telling yourself. Take ownership of that, and then move yourself forward by creating micro actions to get you to the next step. When I think of micro actions, it's those small steps for me to be able to move from A to A plus, not even from A to B, it's from just A to A plus. That's all I want to move forward. They allow you to take those powerful steps without feeling overwhelmed and thinking about, well, how do I get from A to Z? All we have to do is think about, how do we get from A to A plus? A plus to B, B to B plus, and then track your progress. Write down what it is that you're doing, the momentum that you're having, the action steps that you're taking, the results as a result is the results that come as the result of you being able to engage and moving forward intentionally, and then share that progress with others so that they then can get inspired, again, give you feedback, have you think about things that you might not have thought about before, so that you can get to the next level with the momentum and with the support system that you need. And with that, I'm just going to invite you all to let's stay connected. I'm on Facebook. Y'all, let me just say, I'm just trying to do the social media thing. It is just a whole nother job. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, email me at Nicole@designyourprofessionaljoy.com. I named my business where I serve people individually, Design Your Professional Joy, because we have the power to be able to create the careers and the professions that bring us joy. So with that, Stacey, thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope you all walked away with some action steps. Hit me up so that I can learn about all the things you're doing to move your career forward. With that, Stacey, I'll hand it back over to you.
Well, thank you, Nicole. I will give you a great round of applause. That was just amazing. Amazing. So yes, thank you for spending your morning with us. I know you're on vacation and you still came out and did this for us. I really, really appreciate that. All right. So, I mean, this was all the nuggets that we received from this session. We can help to propel us and be ready for the day. So I really enjoyed the session. I really want to thank you for everything that you have done. So I really appreciate that. So what I want to do now is explain the rest of the day as we go forward. So between now and 11 o'clock, we'll be networking. And on the left-hand side of your screen, you will see a little booth that says networking. So networking sessions will be between each session for the day for you to go there and meet other people that are here today. Also, so at 11 o'clock, we will have our career advancement track, which will be in the session. When you click on the session, you will see that it will go live on the left-hand side of the screen. And that session is a career advancement track. Then we'll have another networking session. Then we will have our entrepreneur track, which will start at 12:10. After that, we will have another networking session for you. And then we will have the State of the Black Professional and Entrepreneur at 1:30. After that, we will also have our Diversity Career Fair that starts at 2 p.m. And you don't want to miss out on that. Yes, we have some very great employers that are looking to, employ you. So we have Walgreens, Beam Centauri, HSBC, Fiserv, Hollister, Wintrust, Granger, and you'll get some information from the AMA, which is the American Marketing Association, and the Chicago chapter also has a booth available. So take the time to go to the expo and check those booths out as well. So thank you, Nicole, for everything. Appreciate it, and see you all in the next section. Thank you.